Hey folks, Jackdaw here. The Outer Worlds 2 picks up where the first left off, and promptly blows a hole through space-time. Same satire, same corporate rot, but this time we're not trapped in one broken colony. We're standing on the edge of a universe coming apart at the seams. At its core, it is still very much a story about robber barons in space and how people are controlled by the stories they are told by the people who have power and profit over them. But this time, Obsidian is working with more freedom, more time, more budget, and you can really feel it. Because Halcyon, the setting of the first game, was never truly the full picture. It was a petri dish, built to test how long specifically human beings can survive under unchecked capitalism. Spoiler, not very. Arcadia, the new colony at the heart of the Outer Worlds 2, is where the cracks finally start to show, where the experiment breaks out of containment, or leaks across the floor in unsettling rift-shaped puddles. Obsidian always planned each entry in the series to explore a different colony, a different flavour of dystopia. Halcyon was corporate. Arcadia, though, is authoritarian. At least, that's what the branding says. But the skip drives that made Arcadia rich, the first successful faster-than-light engines in this universe, are now tearing holes in space-time. Cosmic rifts are growing, and you're the one sent to sort it out. Possibly, maybe, it all depends on where the mood really takes you particularly. You play as the Commander, an agent of the Earth Directorate, and a wildcard in a colony already teetering. Each faction wants control of the rifts. Each companion has their own agenda, and you're stuck in the middle of it, carrying a badge from the old world that might mean everything or nothing at all. And so of course, this is your Outer Worlds 2 story primer. We are going over the general plot, the factions, the companions, the politics, and all in all, the general mess that you have been sent to clean up. So, good luck. In the first Outer Worlds, you played as the Stranger, a colonist thawed from cryosleep with no name and no allegiance. In true Obsidian fashion, you were a wildcard. The ship that woke you was off the grid. The corporations ran everything. And Earth had gone dark. It was said that all communications between the old world of Earth and the board of Halcyon were completely cut off. Nobody even knew the Directorate still existed. However, now, in the Outer Worlds 2, you are of course a direct field agent of the Earth Directorate, sent to investigate why Arcadia's skip drives are tearing open rifts in space-time. But this is not a clean operation. The moment you arrive, you're dropped into a colony already breaking apart, politically, socially, and, of course, literally. Maybe you believe in the mission, maybe you're here for your own reasons, or maybe this was never really your choice at all. Either way, the commander's role isn't locked in. You define your backstory, your values, and your methods. Are you a fixer, a lawbringer, a reluctant conscript with more doubts than orders? Think Space Cowboy, Sky Marshal, or Interstellar Enforcer, but make it entirely yours. And if the situation tempts you to take the wrong side, to profit from the rifts, to help weaponize the tech, or to join the highest bidder, well, we'll get to Auntie's choice in a moment. Arcadia is isolated, resource-rich, and completely under control of the protectorate, an authoritarian regime built on the promise of safety and luxury in exchange for total obedience. Essentially, it is a dictatorship with impeccable manners and excellent designer fashion sense. One where citizens aren't citizens, they're subjects, where everything is sacrificed to the greater good, including freedom, choice, and and personality. But if you play the part, you're rewarded with indulgence. The Protectorate owe everything to a single invention, the skip drive. Developed by Arcadia's founder, it was the first successful FTL engine in the Outer Worlds universe. It changed everything: trade, expansion, colonization, and turned Arcadia into a shining model of controlled progress. But now, those very same skip drives are ripping open space-time, creating dangerous rifts that are cutting Arcadia off from the rest of the galaxy. The Protectorate, of course, wants to close them, not to save lives, no, but to save their legacy, their reputation, and of course, their monopoly on interstellar trade. Because nothing disrupts utopia like reality leaking in. Now, the Order of the Ascendant is what happens when faith, science, and existential dread all collide. They are a radical offshoot of the Order of Scientific Inquiry, the state-backed religion from the first game that worshipped the Grand Plan, a belief that everything in the universe unfolds according to a mathematically perfect design. In the Outer Worlds 1, the Order was nothing more than a tool, propaganda to completely fuel the corporations, but somewhere between Arcadia and Halcyon, the numbers stopped adding up. Now, the Ascendant sect has broken away, rebranded and radicalized, treating mathematics as sacred scripture. Their new goal is simple, if not slightly terrifying: solve the universal equation, a formula they believe can predict the future and reshape it for the good of all mankind. The Order used to serve the Protectorate. Now they stand apart, trying to close the rifts, not to protect power, but because the spatial anomalies are corrupting the maths, disrupting their sacred numbers, breaking the plan, the goal. Now, a quick breather before we get to Auntie's choice, but I have partnered with Apex Gaming PCs, which means I essentially have my own lineup of pre-built gaming PCs for you to browse. Whether you're new to PC gaming or want to stream on the side or would like to run the latest games without completely cooking your GPU, there is certainly something for you. Between the Bronze, the Streamer, and the Streamer Plus builds. Use the code Jackdaw at checkout for 5% off. As per usual, the links are in the description down below, so check it out if you are interested in a new PC build. Back to the factions, we have Auntie Cleo, who always wanted to play with the big boys, and now in the Outer Worlds 2, she's finally got her shot. Auntie's choice is a merger between two of Halcyon's most recognizable corporations, Auntie Cleo and Space's Choice. Now, in the first game, they were rivals, each trying to out-advertise the other with discount cures, spiked snacks, and slightly radioactive toothpaste. But now, in Arcadia, they are unified under one banner and have launched a full-blown corporate invasion. In Auntie's own words, they want to liberate the colony's resources, expand the market share, and buy their way into the interstellar elite. The space-time bending rifts, that's not a problem for all Auntie, it's an opportunity. In fact, the worse things get, the more room there is to carve out a monopoly. And so, while the Protectorate obsess over maintaining order, Cleo's people are moving fast, seizing territory, reverse engineering the Protectorate's brainwashing technology, and pushing a new vision of freedom through the mighty powers of capitalism. From Auntie's perspective, your presence as a Directorate agent is an inconvenience at best, and a wildcard at worst. You could ruin everything. Stop the brainwashing tech from being repurposed, help the Order stabilize the rifts, or worse, you could side against all of that. But Auntie Cleo isn't completely out to destroy you, not if she doesn't have to. If you're useful, if you can be swayed, there's always room in the quarterly projections for a new asset. That's the thing about Cleo. She doesn't want to crush out her enemies, not if she can recruit them. Because if she can weaponize the rifts, open and close them at her will, she doesn't need to fight for power, she becomes it. And if you help her, well, welcome to the boardroom. There's a nice, juicy commission fee for simply signing up, and a lovely branded blazer. You won't face Arcadia or each of these factions alone. This of course is an Obsidian game after all. Every major faction is reflected in the companions you travel with. So, let's meet them. First up we have Niles, our fellow Directorate agent and the closest thing we have in this world to a colleague. Clean cut, by the books, and increasingly aware that the books might actually be rigged. Niles is torn between the clarity of the mission and the rot beneath it all. Keep him sharp, keep him loyal, or show him how to burn the manual entirely. Next is Val, Niles' personal automech support drone. Details are spare on Val, but she's clearly more than a behind-the-scenes lackey robot, likely tied into Niles' path and possibly a companion in her own right. Next we have Marisol, an enforcer for the Order of the Ascendant, and probably the deadliest mathematician in Arcadia. Marisol solves problems with formulas or knives, depending on the variables. She's haunted by unfinished business, and whether you help her solve it, or complicate it even further, may determine if her equation ever balances. Next we have Aza, a zealot from a splinter cult that has decided to instead worship the Rift. Whether you want to anchor her back to reality or lean into the madness is entirely up to you. Expect philosophical whiplash and occasional murder. Next we have Inez, an Auntie's Choice field medic with a corporate past carved literally into her skin. Inez survived a company experiment that grafted animal parts onto human tissue. She's alive, she's unstable, and she wants something back. You can help her heal or help her break things even worse. Lastly, we have Tristan, an arbiter of the protectorate, warped in armor and complete absolution. He sees the world in chains of command. His quest invites you to uphold his system, bend it, or dismantle it entirely. Obsidian has gone on the record to say that the companions of the Outer Worlds 2 take direct inspiration from Fallout New Vegas, particularly Boone. Each one is so deeply tied to this world, to the factions they represent, with then storylines that are going to test your values and theirs. And unfortunately, once again, just in case you were asking, there is still no romance system in the Outer Worlds. So if you are hoping to flirt with the cultist, or at least snog the mathematician, you are unfortunately just going to have to use your imagination. So I suppose, what is the Outer Worlds 2 really about from a narrative point of view? Well, based on what we know, it's about how people are ruled by governments, by faith, by corporations, and by the stories those groups tell. It's about propaganda, about perception, and about how power reshapes reality by reshaping how people see themselves. The Protectorate use propaganda to keep their subjects docile. Auntie's Choice uses it to sell lies for profit, while the Order believes their mathematics is reality. And you, once more, you're a wild card, a wrench in the system. Or maybe you are going to be a cog in the machine. It's all dependent on how you want to play this. Are you here to close the rifts, collapse the entire system, or sell it all back at a nice, tidy margin? And finally, do I need to play the first game in order to understand and get this one? No, but it may help slightly. This sequel is designed to be accessible to new players. You don't need to know about Halcyon or the Hope or the Stranger to understand Arcadia in the slightest. Still, if it has been a while, if the details are a bit fuzzy, or you skipped the first game entirely but still want a full lore breakdown on the Outer Worlds 1, don't worry, I've got you covered. I'm putting together a full recap of the first game. Not just the game's plot, but the alternate American timeline that set all of this in motion. We'll cover how the corporations took control in the first place, how Halcyon was designed to fail, and why the events of the first game are a blueprint for the disaster to come. Stay tuned if that video is of interest to you, but with that said, what do you think about the factions shaping up in the Outer Worlds 2? Do you trust our very own Earth Directorate, or would you consider siding with the corporate Auntie's Choice, or mathematician mad cultists, or of course the brain-washing regime that is the Protectorate? And what do you think is the real cause of the rifts? Let me know all of your thoughts down below, your theories, and what kind of commander you are going to be creating when this hits in October. But of course, until then, I have been Jackdaw. I will see you in the next one. But until then, I should go. Whoa, 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 whoa.